So regarding a knock and talk is an investigative technique when the police will come to your door. Maybe they have a suspicion or report that a crime has occurred or is about to be committed. And they come and they knock on your door because they want to ask you some questions about that.
My name is Patrick Nolan. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Missouri. This is Pat Talks Law.
So they'll come, Mr. Smith, we'd like to speak with you. You go over, and maybe you open the door, maybe you just talk through it. Yes, well, would you open the door, please? We'd like to talk to you about something. You open the door, and then they may even try to invite themselves in. Well, can we come in and talk to you about this? Okay, there are a couple problems with that, and I'm going to get into those here right now, though I intend to do it after. First, when the police come and knock on your door, if they're knocking and saying, we'd like to speak with you, they don't have a warrant. Okay? That means you have no obligation to speak with them. You can say no. You can say, thanks for coming. I don't answer questions without my attorney. No, please leave my property and have a nice day. You don't have to open your door. When you open your door, you're giving the officers an opportunity to claim that they see something in plain sight or they smell something, the plain smell doctrine, which hasn't been accepted everywhere. But the idea that they're going to see or smell or hear something that could give them an exigent circumstance to get into the building. Now, that creates that situation, and you don't want to do that. Better leave the door closed and say, may I help you? And let them say what they want to say. And then say, okay, thank you. I don't answer questions without my attorney. Thank you for coming. Please leave my property and have a nice day. They want to ask you about your day. Were you over across the street this morning? I'm not talking about my day. Thank you for coming. Please leave my property and have a nice day. You're not outside. The only way they're going to arrest you or come in your house is if they have a warrant or they have exigent circumstances. Now, if while you're talking to the officers, your TV picks up a distress scene and you hear somebody screaming, help, help, brother, they're kicking the door down, they're coming in. You need to understand that, okay? So there are a number of exigent circumstances that they can come in without a warrant. However, those exigent circumstances have guidelines and they have to follow them. So when a police officer comes to your door, they may well knock and ask to speak with you. They're going to ask you to open the door. They'll probably ask you a couple times. They may even get gruff and use their intimidation voice. Mr. Smith, open the door. Okay, you don't have to. And if you feel like they're using the intimidation voice or they're taking that approach, simply say, I'm sorry, I feel like you're attempting to intimidate me. I don't desire to speak with you anymore. If you have any further questions, you may contact my attorney. Now, please leave my property and have a nice day. Look, they think you're a drug dealer or drug smuggler or meth cook, and they think you're going to destroy the evidence there, and they've got what they think is probable cause of a search warrant. They may come in, secure the scene, and then go get a warrant. But let's be honest. If that's a situation, you already know that. So when the officer knocks, remember, it's simple. You got to follow the script. I don't want to talk to you. Please leave my property. Have a nice day. I'm not opening my door without a warrant. I'm not answering questions without my attorney. If you'd like to ask me questions, please talk to my attorney. Thank you for coming. Please leave my property and have a nice day. Be polite, be courteous. Assholes go to jail. Now, if they do have exigent circumstances, they're coming in. Even if you think the police are wrong, in Missouri, you cannot resist an unlawful arrest. It's illegal. Even if the arrest is unlawful, you can't resist it. In other states, that may be different. There are a number of states where you can legally resist an unlawful arrest. I wouldn't advise it. As a friend of mine who's a cop in Massachusetts says, they can't afford to lose on the street. They will bring more and more overwhelming force until they win. And they have to. So don't resist an unlawful arrest with force. If the cop's going to come in and they're going to search your place, regardless of your consent, you're not going to be able to physically stop them. However, legally, afterwards, we'll be able to take some action. The first thing is, remember, keep yourself safe. The second point is, don't surrender your rights. I don't consent to any searches. I don't answer questions, not my attorney. I'm not going to talk about my day. Are you detaining me or am I free to go? Well, shit, this is my house. You're free to go. You may leave. Knock and talk. It's not a complicated thing. It can be a lot of fun. Now, I had drawn this out with nice secondary videos, so I'm going to talk about a secondary issue in this one. And this is the stupidity of some copyright claims. I clipped out a short segment of Better Call Saul and used that in the first rendition of this video, which is actually very well done. Unfortunately, I can't display it because YouTube blocked it. In Better Call Saul, Chuck McGill had a knock and talk. He stole a newspaper from his neighbor, left a $5 bill on the curb instead of the paper. Anyway, cops came, knocked on the door, asked to speak with him. They insisted that he open the door. He said he wasn't going to. They gave him a little bit of a hard time. He admitted that he stole the newspaper. Again, don't answer questions. Don't admit it. And then he got flustered, got a little frustrated. So he started talking about the probable cause requirement for him to be able to enter his home. While he was droning on, one of the officers walked around the building to the back door and peered in the back door, hit his flashlight, and saw a number of camp stove fuel cans, and a destroyed electric breaker box. If you follow Better Call Saul, you may remember that Charles McGill claimed a hypersensitivity to electrical current. So he had destroyed the breaker box. Well, the officer that saw that then put out a call to his fellow officer who was at the front of the house, listening to McGill drone on about probable cause and two prongs, reasonable articulable suspicion and such. And he walked away from him. Came around the back, looked in the back door with the other officer, saw the camp stove fuel cans, and said, "My God, look at all those cans." Well, he sure sounds like a tweaker. If you don't know, camp stove fuel, white gas, is a precursor chemical in the making of methamphetamine. That is an indicator of potential drug manufacturing on site. The destroyed electrical breaker box, that implies that there's some other issues. Frankly, it could raise a valid question, especially with McGill's confused and erratic speech. The theft of a newspaper, very erratic behavior. The way he was speaking with police officers was unusual, to say the least. And if you dealt with people who are on methamphetamine, sometimes they don't make the most sense or act in what you would think is the right way. So the second officer that arrives at the back door says to the first officer, "Is he coming out or are we going in?" And then they go around to the front of the house. The first officer, he doesn't knock nicely this time. This time he beats on the door. Announces, "Charles McGill, you've got 10 seconds to open the door or I'm taking it down." At that point, they're coming in. They're going to secure the scene. They believe they have exigent circumstances, that there may be evidence of a crime, the production of methamphetamine, on the site. They're going to come in, they're going to secure the site while they go get a warrant for search. Now, when they secure the site, they're going to come in, they're going to sweep the house for a safety search, look in any area that may be big enough to house a person. Then they're going to go seek a warrant. Sounds a little backwards. It is. Frankly, it's the Supreme Court has upheld that as valid. I don't agree with it, but they have. Had a case, 6 years ago now, where there was an investigation. Police did a pretextual stop on the client who was driving a car. They got everybody out, and the client had a previous bust for an assault on a law enforcement officer. So they used that as a reason to isolate and do a quick pat-down search. And then they searched the vehicle. Well, there was some leaves or grass or something in the back seat. And I mean actual grass, not weed. And what they did is they called that marijuana shake, which is not a term of art, has no real meaning. What it is they tried to pretend that was just a few flakes of marijuana that they could use to arrest the guy. So they arrested him. And while he was in the station, he admitted that he had some drugs, and I think he may have admitted that they were at his house. So they didn't allow him to talk to his family. And I may be misremembering whether or not he admitted it, I don't recall. But the officers went over to his house, announced, "I have probable cause for a search warrant," and kicked the door in. In the process of doing that, they knocked his disabled wife, who was in a wheelchair, out of a wheelchair on her ass. And it was a terrible, terrible situation. Anyway, we lost a motion to suppress on that. And quite frankly, I think the judge was wrong. I think that should have been approved. But ultimately, the guy got a pretty good deal. And they did find a considerable quantity of marijuana in a closet. But that knock and talk is something that happens all the time, every day in every community. And you need to know how to protect your rights while you deal with the police in a polite, respectable, responsible manner. The essence of it is they're doing a dangerous job, but you don't want to let them tromp on your rights. Okay, so don't open the door. You can announce, tell them, "Yeah, I hear you. I'm here. I'm not going to open my door without a warrant. If you have a warrant, I'll let you in. Without a warrant, you're not coming in." And then you can politely tell them that I'm not going to answer any questions. Have a nice day. That's how you deal with a knock and talk. And then the minute those officers walk away, or you walk away from the door, you call your attorney and you tell them they just did a knock and talk. You didn't let them in and tell them what happened. And total bonehead thing. I meant to tell you at the very beginning of this. Before you walk over to that door, you grab your recorder. You get your cell phone, you turn on the recording app, you get a digital voice recorder, you turn it on, you record it, and you record that entire conversation. That recording is going to be critical if and when this goes to court, because the officer just kicked the door.